Alright, good evening ladies and gentlemen. We are back here for some WOR Tier 2 action, and we are at the Netherlands for round 7, I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken. No, round 5, sorry, a bit too far ahead. But yeah, once again joined by my good friend Callum G. Callum, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks for having me once again. Looking forward to it tonight. It's been a very good season so far as Tier 2 standards go. An absolute mad race last week at Austria, and as we come to Zandvoort tonight, the home of your current F1 World Champion. Not a great track for overtaking, however. This is Tier 2, so I wouldn't write anything off, so yeah, I am looking forward to it.
Certainly so. We've got the big hitters here tonight. As usual, PSR Boots here as well. Noctix, M Racer. Heartbreak last week at Austria, losing out after winning on track, getting that penalty at the final corner. Had that brilliant strategy pin for the softs, and it just fell away from him. So he'll be looking to make up for it here tonight. PSR Mac has unfortunately left the session. On board with Cypher though, the Alfa Romeo man, looking to build on some momentum after probably a disappointing Austrian race, after, let's say, some questionable driving standards from the drivers here at Austria last week. We'll probably see a bit of that here again tonight, Callum, with the drivers getting a bit aggressive.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's probably going to be a little bit more promoted this week as well, just because people might get a little bit more desperate. Well, maybe not, because I think that last week was probably as bad as you're going to see it. Last lap stuff, battling for the podium, battling for race wins, and yeah, it did probably get a little bit messy, and yeah, the stewards would have probably had a busy Tuesday night trying to sort that one all out, but you know, we came out the other end of it, and yeah, people will live and learn. Race, as you mentioned, I'm sure he'll be gutted with that. It'd have been his maiden Tier 2 victory, and he was literally as late as it gets, a corner away when they picked up that final warning, which gave him a penalty. So yeah, cruelly took it away from him, but he'll be back out looking for another good race night, because he has been doing very well this year, Racer, considering this is his first year in Tier 2.
Certainly so. He's the man to watch. On board with Cypher now. He's looking to set a reasonable banker lap time. It's a 10.735. Not too bad. Goes in front of PSR Fern, his Alfa Romeo teammate. Now going on board with FRA Silas. What can he do? He goes fastest with a 110.330. That is a very quick lap time there from Silas. He's been up there a few times this season, Silas, fighting for the top 5. But that's really made a statement there early on here, going fastest by quite some margin, and the drivers behind him will be looking to make up for it. We'll go on board with the German M Racer right now. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake. Tyres overheating maybe a little bit there for the German. Now on board with Chassis Noctix, purple middle sector. This could be quite a nice lap time here for the McLaren. We'll stick on board, maybe seeming to just nurse the tyres a little bit around these final few corners, taking it very cautious, not wanting to invalidate just yet, just want to get a lap time on the board. These drivers will only get 3 laps. Oh, there's been big damage on the track there. I think that was the Alpine, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which Alpine driver it was, but that was very big damage there.
Yeah, definitely it was. Racer coming across line 116. I don't think that's a very representative sign. Just looking on board with Fingerboy on as he's coming to the end of his lap. It'll be interesting to see where he will put that. Williams just coming through the right and the left through the kind of stadium section in the final sector. It looks like it's not be a bad lap today, but a little bit of traffic in front of him as well coming into turn 13, which might just put him off. It's an Alfa Romeo, I think, not too sure who it will be though. Coming through there is fantastic bank right hander. We've seen a few drivers crash here last night. Zach Oates, to want to name a few, as he comes across line for Fingerboy, and it says P8. So yeah, not a great lap there from the Williams.
Yeah, certainly so. The driver's got to be careful of that banking corner. That's where the tyres do seem to overheat just minimally, and then the car just does not like it and it snaps. So the driver's got to be careful, and we'll see in the race. I do believe a few drivers will spin here tonight, especially through this fast right where Sam Cole just went past, the new Shazoo driver. Interesting from Sam Cole to move there, but it's his decision and his future, and I'm sure Shazoo will support him in the best way that they can to make him into a top tier talent, because you saw it, he won last week here at Austria, so maybe that was the key decision for Shazoo to sign the Haas man, because he is certainly building up some form, and it's purple through the middle sector. Surely this should be quickest. Bit of a miss at the apex there for Sam Cole. So there's a bit of time in that final sector. Up to line now, DRS wide open. Let's see what Sam Cole can do, and it's only enough for P2 on the soft tyres there. Ferry Silas on the mediums goes a tenth quicker. So that is one hell of a statement there from Silas.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually trying to see, is it the fastest lap that you set on the mediums for Silas? I'm having a bit of a...
Yeah,
was it?
It was mediums.
Oh well, there you have it. Then that's outstanding stuff from him. And from a Sam Cole point of view, probably not great considering, as you mentioned there, a big move from up to Shizu, a great team in this community. His overkills, there you have it, up into P1, also on the soft tyres at 110.3, only a 10 quicker than Sam Cole though. So yeah, doing very well.
Certainly so, indeed. But I think Silas should really be quite happy with this. You don't really want to be too tentative with your position at the moment, of course. You want to be in the pole position seat. Boots making a bit of a mistake there. The tier 2 championship lead at the moment, went up to tier 1 last night. Didn't put up too bad of a performance in qualifying. He'll be looking to make a mark though after a no-score finish last week at Austria. Up to line now. What can PSR Boots do? It is enough for provisional pole position with a 110.1, but I'm sure the drivers behind will be looking to improve. Lurch backing out of his lap there, now going on board with NRX Chester. Fortunately, NRX do not exist anymore, so I'm surprised he still has that. But anyway, on board with him through the long banking right. Opens DRS, doesn't take a tight line, so maybe just a bit nervous for the tyres, and it's enough for P5 there for the former NRX driver. Nicely done indeed. But yeah, I think we've got to give fair credit to Silas. He's still in the top 5 on the mediums. I think he's going to be satisfied with that at the moment. Fern though, on board the Alfa Romeo, the Mexican. What can he do about it? Can he go any quicker? 4 tenths up. This won't be enough for pole at the moment. He's going to have to find a bit of time through this last sector. Car twitching and snapping a little bit there. Get on the power nice and early, and that's going to be an invalidation for PSR Fern. The Alfa Romeo pushing the car a bit too hard there. And now we'll go on board with the American off Cypher. See what he can do about it. And again, these drivers are definitely struggling with the tyre temps as they're understeering off wide quite massively. And it's 5 tenths up here for Cypher through the middle sector. He's nailed that corner quite nicely, taking as much curve as possible. And that is Silas now going up into pole position. First man to break into the 109s. Nicely done indeed. Noctix goes into second. What can Cypher do about it though? He was purple in the middle. Can he steal away pole position for the Dutchman? Yes, he can for now. Nicely done from the American. And it's a 109.928.
Yeah, very good lap from him there, on board with another Shizu driver at the moment. Shizu Jonah, as he's come to the end of his lap on the soft compounded tyre. As you're celebrating Chelsea going the lap, can Jonah be celebrating a provisional pole position? Currently sitting 9th at the moment on the medium compounded tyre. It was soft, I think it's about a 5/10 difference on the delta, if I'm right in saying that, coming through the penultimate corner he comes now. He's done the hard part now, coming through the right bank corner, making sure he keeps it in the straight line, foot flat to the floor, and as he stays to the right hand side, where will it be for the Red Bull? And it is P3, not a bad lap there at all, a 1 minute 10.093. So a good lap there from Jonah.
Not bad indeed. Shazoo Finn, the Shazoo driver, not really lit up the timing sheets just yet. Just probably trying to get into the zone a little bit at the moment. M Racer now, the German, the tier 2 man in P2 in the championship right now. He'll be gutted with what went wrong at Austria, but he'll be looking to make up of it here tonight. Quite nicely done through that first corner from M Racer, getting on the power nice and early. See what he does through this first sector, absolutely nailing that there. Takes a nice tight line. Interesting, that's another key point. Some drivers like to take a high line to get the better launch. Some like to keep it tight but try and carry as much speed as possible through that corner, and M Racer's done that nicely. 24.529, a bit of time through that first sector for sure. Bit of understeer through that right hander. Quite common for these drivers with their setups by the looks of things. And now down into third gear, up into fourth now. Braking just after the 50. Quite nicely done there. Third gear up into fourth. Car a bit twitchy on the exit. Tyres starting to scream for help a little bit. And now he's got to absolutely nail this sector. Decides to avoid that curb, which is interesting. Quite a lot of drivers have decided to run over it. Goes it down to second to get the car rotated. Now up into sixth. Ooh, bit of understeer again through that right-hander. Seems to me that this doesn't look like a track which M Racer's got this track hooked up at the moment, but up to the line now, it's going to be a 110.559 for M Racer, up into P11, but there's a lot of time in that lap there.
Yeah, definitely, especially for Emirates high standards, they've been expecting a little bit better than that. So yeah, slightly disappointing there for the Red Bull. I'm just trying to, Williams, sorry, not the Red Bull. I'm just trying to see if I can find anyone at a lap moment, but it looks like a lot of drivers coming out for their out laps now. Chizui Piccolo is on a lap, so good timing for him now as he's coming through the final sector. The McLaren in P17 at the moment, a Shizou driver to this grid. It's come feels like a bit of a Shizou factory at the moment in Tier 2, but the McLaren bit in P17 will be looking to try and push that name up there a little bit and push himself up there coming through the final corner. He goes DRS and they'll keep it across the line, foot flat to the floor, well up in the nines, and definitely won't be. It's a 1 at 10.5, a little bit optimistic from me there, but yeah, ahead of M Racer and yeah, just outside the top 10, so not too bad there from Piccolo.
Certainly not on board of Sam Cole, the Shazoo protege. Up to line now, it's a 110.1, and that's a very nice lap time, putting him up into P5. Nicely done indeed, out qualifying the main roster driver, Shazoo Finn. So Finn's got a bit of pressure, a bit of competition here in Tier 2, and Lurch all the way down in P18. I think he'll be looking to improve at the moment, and he is 2/10 up at the moment. I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of time in this last sector, taking a lot of curb there. That's not going to help his time at the moment, because you really want to be skimming these curves more than riding them. And through the middle sector he goes. I think that was PSR Workshop going behind his teammate of PSR Boots, championship leader there, up into P8. Not badly done there from the PSR owner. Now come through the final few corners now. Here comes Shazoo Lurch. What can he do? Can he get into the top 5? And that, oh my goodness me, he was pushing the track limits there indeed. Through the final corner now, keeping a tight line. Up to line now. What can it be for Shazoo Lurch? It's enough for P2. Very nicely done from the Mercedes man after such a rocky season for a driver of such high standards as well. That will give him the confidence that he needs.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good lap from him. I'm just trying to see if I can find any drivers on a lap. Silas looks like he's on the lap at the moment. He's sliding at Aston Martin through the middle sector that he goes coming through turn 10. That is now sliding a little bit there as Jonah gets nice out of the way on the right hand side. Silas currently sitting P3 in the standings in this session, and he is a marginally up, but it would be marginally enough to take him to provisional pole position. So it's looking good here for Silas coming out of the penultimate corner, turn 13. The right hander, very easy to run out wide there, but he's done that pretty nicely. A little bit of oversteer there on next, a bit of a moment there for Silas, but he keeps it far right. He comes across line. Will it be provisional pole for Silas? And it says it's a great lap there from a 1 minute 9.843, and that takes him comfortably into provisional pole position.
Yeah, nicely done there from Silas. On board with Cypher though, the man's improving at the moment. Can the American cripple the Dutchman's heart on his home Grand Prix? We'll have to wait and see. Up to line now for Cypher. It's going to be a 109.730. The American staking pole, provisional pole at the moment. Great lap indeed from the Alfa Romeo driver. At the moment, is anybody else on a flying lap time? It is Shazoo Jonah, but he is down through the first sector. We'll stick on board just in case. He's got a bit of time through this middle. He still is pushing, using all the curb there. Very, very brave indeed. Attacking that curb quite aggressively. Interesting the lines these drivers are taking from the Tier 1 drivers from last night in this qualifying. And it is very, very aggressive on the curbs. And that is probably where the majority of the time can be found. And that is, we're going to move on from Jonas since he's nearly 2/10 down. Rev Caterpillar coming into the pits. Tuddy, he's slightly down on his time. Will he continue this lap? No, he will not. So I think we're going to see a lot of drivers just returning to the pit lane now, Callum. And it's going to be a bit of a stalemate for a little bit.
Yeah, it does look like that. I think there's 3 or 4 minutes left on the cohort. We can't really see because of this yellow flag, but yeah, I think there's something around that. It's been a very good session so far. Yeah, 3 minutes 40 as we can see there. Yeah, it's been a good session so far, really close up at the front, and Cypher doing very well to get that provisional pole. I'm disappointed to see PSR Boots down so low. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And M Racer down in P15 as well. Your top 2 in the championship, 9th and 15th respectively. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Shizui Noctix, the man who's in P3 in the standings, he is 6th, so he is your highest out of the top 3. Even that, he was procession who's at the front. So yeah, I think there's still going to be a lot of change in these last runs.
Yeah, we've got some battling already between Shazoo Finn and M-Race on their outlets, trying to fight for track position. M-Race has got out quite a bit early here to avoid the traffic, and if he unfortunately makes a mistake on his lap, he will have plenty of time to cool down the tyres, reset and go again. So on board with the Williams man, the German. What can he do? Can he close down the gap to PSR Boots here tonight? We'll have to wait and see. He's going to need a massive improvement if he wants to get into the side of the top 10. And I'm sure he has the ability to do that. We've seen that this season. and he's going to attack this first sector as aggressively as he can. It's a bit wide there, but he's corrected that quite nicely, getting on the power nice and early as well, and that's a big error for M Racer. Maybe got on the power a little bit too early, could have potential rear wing damage from that impact, but seems to me that he's got away with it for now. And that's what I mean by going out early. He's got away with it here there, Callum.
Yeah, I'm sure I'd be happy with that one, but yeah, only 2 minutes left in the clock, so that's going to be a lot of the drivers starting to come out now, and yeah, that's an interesting one what happens to him there. But yeah, plenty of time left in the clock for him to sort that one out, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these last 2 minutes play out.
Certainly so. And go on board with Shazzu Lurch. He'll be the first one to set a lap time after everybody else who was on a lap has unfortunately backed off one. So we'll go on board with Lurch. He'll be looking to steal away pole position. The pad is notoriously good here in qualifying, but in the race, that seems to be where it does struggle with the tyres. We'll have to wait and see if Lurch can handle it here tonight. Quite nicely done there through the first sector, going down into third, up into fifth though on the exit. Getting on the power as early as he dares. Down into fifth, takes a wide line, but then cuts quite nicely there. Taking a tight, sharp line, using all the track there. Interesting from Lurch. A lot of these drivers do love to touch these curves, which I'm really surprised about, as a lot of them are quite notorious for spinning, and Lurch is actually on his first sector, and that is a spin through the flat right. Lucky to catch that there. We'll go on board now with PSR Fern, and he'll be looking to do better than P4. Alfa Romeo having a solid qualifying at the moment here, Callum.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at PSR Boots at the moment, and that in P9, but your championship with it crucially. So I'm interested to see, will he pull something out of the bag? He's on the track there, coming out exit of turn 10, I think that is now coming out of the final sector. He goes, he's 2 tenths up, and that would be a big improvement. That would take him into the second row of the grid at least. Nicer done there through the left-hander of turn 12, now looking at his eyes for turn 13, just breaking just after the 50-metre board, missing that curb on the inside and using all the exit on the outside, but keeping it in track limits, crucially coming through the final corner. He goes, he could have stayed to the right as he gets the DRS open. PSR Boots here, your championship leader, can he make a professional pole? And he cannot. It's only P3 for the AlphaTauri driver, however, that is still a very good effort.
Certainly so indeed. On board with PSR Fern through the final few sectors now we go. The Mexican, can he go back in front of PSR Boots, and can he get in front of Shazzy Lurch? We'll have to wait and see. Silas invalidating or is already retired from the session. Quite big news that is for the Dutchman, and there we go. Fern only does enough for P4, a slight, but one indeed, and there's M Racer up into P6. That's more like it from the German. Up into P6, a 5/10 improvement. He'll be happy with that one after the rocky start through qualifying. Cypher marginally down on his first and second sector, 4 thousandths down, using all the curb onto the grass there. Interesting from the American, and again using all the track, getting a bit shaky on the exit, a bit of oversteer, but caught it quite nicely. Now up to the line, what can Cypher do? Seems to me that he is improving. Abruptly switched to the right, and that is not going to be improvement for Cypher. Seems to me that nobody is going to be improving at this stage. Lurch, though, come around the final corner. Has he found a little bit of time for the final corner? No, he hasn't. And that seems to me the end of qualifying here, Callum, because nobody else seems to be improving on a lap time at the moment.
Yeah, I've got Cole on P17 at the moment. He's 2 tenths up, maybe enough to put him in the top 10. Not too much to worry for the front row as he comes across line. It's P13 for the McLaren, so yeah, not a bad effort there. And then Shazoo Finn coming across line as well. Can he beat Shazoo 18 May? And he can, just about as well as he puts himself up into P13. Finger Boy as well, he's out on track, but he's not going to be improving. PSR Max coming across line as well to set his first bad lap of the session, and he'd have been just as well not coming out as he stays in last place.
Certainly so. It's not been a good season for PSR Mac, unfortunately for him. Always been at the back in qualifying. Seems to be a weak area for the PSR man. Got something to improve on throughout this season. But we've seen that a few times this, from last season in particular anyway. A lot of drivers did start to come through near the end or the midpoint. That's when drivers like Harvey really start to turn it up a little bit. And I'm expecting to see that from a few drivers in this tier. That is for certain. And not bad from FSC Venom up into P9. Sam Cole, the new Shazoo signing to the academy, up into P10 there. So not too bad from a few of these drivers. Silas, I think that's his best qualifying of the season, into P2 on his home Grand Prix. He'll be very happy with that. But Cypher takes pole position in quite good fashion there with a 109.730. That's quite a big statement there, wasn't it, Callum?
Yeah, definitely. Well, especially from Cypher, he's down in P10 at the championship at the moment. He didn't turn up for the first race in Spa, and his only point scoring finish was a second place in Imola. But other than that, he's failed to score. So yeah, this is a big statement here from him. Obviously, he shows he's got the pace of a pole position here in a second place in Imola, but maybe consistency is his issue. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that up through the course of this race. But if he can, he could definitely be on for some good points.
Yeah, certainly so. It's quite an interesting. Few drivers a bit of a surprise about Shazzy Finn all the way down in P13. Not like the Irishman, that is for sure. PSR Vector as well. Very disappointing qualifying for him in P12. We saw that at Russia though. He had a shocking qualifying, but he made up for it in the race, already inside the top 5. And we saw what M Racer can do as well at Russia for a bad qualifying. Remember that race, he's already up into P5 after turn 2 or 3. So keep an eye on M Racer. He gets electrifying starts around this track. But it is Cypher who takes pole position here at the Dutch Grand Prix with Silas in P2. PSR Boots, the championship leader in P. Not a bad lap time indeed at the end there, with Fern in 5th, Lurch in 6th, M Racer 7th, Jonah in 8th, Venom 9th, and Sam Cole rounds out the top 10. Not bad indeed from those drivers. And now we move on to the exciting part of the race. One driver who isn't here tonight is Sindri once again, so it's a real shame. This would have been a track which I'm sure he would have created a little bit of drama for us commentators here tonight, as this track is notoriously quite poor for overtaking.
I think Sundari would bring a bit of drama to any track that specific advert, but yeah, I did a little bit disappointed to see 2 weeks in a row. But hopefully we can get him back for the next few races. But yeah, listen, these drivers they don't just rely on Sundari to bring action every week. We've seen them last week without Sundari, and they put on an absolute chaos of a race, absolute chaos in the race. So yeah, I think I've got good hopes for this race. Obviously the overtake might not be great, but we'll see how the rest of it goes.
Certainly so. It seems to be a bit dark around this Dutch Grand Prix circuit. You never know. We could see maybe a little bit of rain throughout this race. A few drivers picking the softs outside the top 10 unless they haven't picked their strategy correctly. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Unless some drivers have decided to go aggressive, we'll have to keep it close to LMG. How do you see this top 3 forming out? Do you see any changes at all?
Yeah, I do a lot, but I don't know how much word I've got in this anymore. I peaked in the first round with my predictions, but I'm going to go for a Boots win from P3, M Racer for P2 from P7, and this is quite a bold one here. PSR Wexro from P12 on the grid to P3. I think that could be a little bit of a silly one, but listen, I've backed the big man in P12, so yeah, there's my prediction.
That's unbelievable. That's the bold. That is going bold. That prediction, if I've ever seen it before. I feel like the top 3 will most likely stay the same unless someone gets the launch of Dreams. I'm going to stick with the top 3 as it is: Cypher, Silas, Boots. But maybe we could see Boots ahead of Silas. That'll be the only difference, in my opinion, for this race. And to everybody in the chat, leave it down below. Who do you think will be in the top 3 come the end of the race? We've seen that Tuddy is going to do a last to first, apparently, from P19. That would be quite remarkable if I see that happen tonight. Quite a lot of PSR Wexo fans as well in the chat, as it is a PSR Limit team in here, so I'm not surprised. There are PSR drivers. So as we wait, the game isn't broken as the countdown did begin. Let's hope a few drivers can load in. There we go, nicely done. So as the formation lap begins, this is where the drivers will have to get their tyres up to temperature, and I know for a fact they'll be wanting to do it late here because tyre temps are certainly not very nice around here.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. These guys in the softs, it's going to be interesting to see how long they can survive on them. It's not going to be a pleasant time for them at all. And these guys in the mediums as well, interesting to see the progress that they can make. Obviously, we mentioned that overtaking isn't great into here, so I'd imagine the strategy isn't going to be super. I could be really wrong with that though. I don't really know much about this track. However, I'll be interested to see how they can manage in the medium tyres. Can they make the most of them? Will they be quicker than the soft guys after 2-3 laps, or will it take a while for the mediums to come into play? So yeah, a lot of factors in this race, and I'll be interested to see how it all turns out.
Certainly so. Driving standards from Tier 1 were certainly not nice. W.R. Wilson experienced that quite violently last week when he was on the hard compound tyres. He was getting shoved out the way on those final few laps, so we could see something like that. And myself, I got involved in quite a rude incident here through the first sector, so expect some desperation and expect some desperate defending as well from some of these drivers, because they will absolutely have to send one down the inside at some of these corners if they want to make some moves. Turn 1 will be the main area where these drivers will make the moves, and oh my goodness me, that is PSR Fern deciding to take out a brake board. I don't think a few drivers will be happy with that one. But yeah, expect some lunges into some corners, and expect the banking in Sector 1 to be an overtaking opportunity as well. Some drivers might go around the outside, so keep a close eye on that. You never know what might go down there. As we wait for the drivers all to form up on the grid. Not many drivers are warming up their tyres too violently, as I did predict, as the tyres do get very, very hot around here, so expect their tyres to be quite cold, and you could see some drivers getting a poor getaway as we wait for PSR Mac to form up onto the final grid slot. So, leave your predictions down in the chat. How do you see this turn 1 ending? I'm saying a bit of drama, but now we wait for the 5 red lights to get us underway here. We've got 1. Have we got 1? We've got 1. We've got 2. We've got 3. We've got 4. We've got 5 red lights. As lights out and away we go for the Dodge Grand Prix, and there we go. We've got a poor start from the Alfa Romeo. PSR 30. He's been jumped by 2, 3, 4 cars potentially already before turn 1. That's an absolute horror start for the Mexican driver. He's down into P7. Not a start he would have driven for at all. But it's Cypher who leads through the first sector. Nicely done. PSR Boots follows in P3 with Silas in P2. Trying to get a little cutback on him there. But there's a few moves in the background as well. M-Racer down into P10. He's had a poor start from P7. It's not gone well for the Alfa Romeo and the Williams of M-Racer and PSR Fern. Few dramas in the background, but nothing too serious at the moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised how calm this start's been so far, but yeah, fair, not a great start at all. He looks to maybe make a move on the Red Bull there. Jonan makes a little bit of a mistake. Well, he may be under pressure now coming in the next corner. A little bit of twitching going on in the background, but for the most part, it's all side by side looking further back. Fins in the walls as well down there in P12. But yeah, as you mentioned, pretty calm start as far as Zandvoort goes.
Yeah, FRT Venom and Sam Cole! Oh my goodness me! Sam Cole trying to dive it down into the inside there. Had to back out of it. Oh, we got a spin! M-Racer has gone round. The man in P2 is not gone his way in qualifying, and the race has not gone his way either. He's going to need a miracle to get brought back into this one, but it's an interesting few laps. The medium runners sticking on to the DRS at the moment. Shazoo Finn looking to make a move on Smokey. He goes darting down the inside, the Irishman, and there's that PSR Wetro trying to follow through, just a little bit too far back at this moment in time. But the medium runners are going to have to work together if they're going to want to stick with the soft runners at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. If PSR Magman looking to move on overkills into turn 3, you don't normally see it there to them going side by side overkills, though. It looks like he's got the run to come out the corner, but the Ferrari, he's not giving up yet. He's using that overtake, and surely not into turn 7. You wouldn't really think it. He's close enough for the move, but yeah, he's thought better of that one, and he's going to have to sit behind at the moment in P14.
Yeah, certainly so. It's a great start for PSR Mac from P20. Man, he's on a mission at the moment after that really disappointing qualifying. Will he make a move into this left-hander? No, he doesn't. Touches the grass there. You don't want to be doing that too often, as the car will not react nicely to that one. But we've got a bit of a stalemate now. The drivers will start to work together, save the ERS, and then go on the attack eventually. Cypher using a bit of overtake down into the 90% area. Nothing really to worry about at the moment. Be interesting to mention the wings will be very, very high around this track, as the middle sector is quite violent around here, especially with the rear end. Cypher then now Noctix takes out the fastest lap away from the Alfa Romeo man. So it is just really, it's a game of chess at the moment. Who's going to go first?
Sorry, just on PSR Max, sending nearly an overcast going into turn 1. The man looks like he's on an absolute mission. I've just been watching him, he's been using a lot of overtake, and I gasped in pure just surprise as he looked at me, be sending it down the inside the overkills into turn 1. But yeah, Jack RT chat, you kind of mentioned PSR Max, and yeah, he's a real one to look out for. He's really looking to make progress. However, that is at the expense of his ERS. He's been using a lot of it up already, and already down at 35%. There's a bit of contact of overkills as well coming through turn 7. But yeah, PSR Max, he is on a mission at the moment.
Yeah, Overkills will be getting a bit frustrated at this. He does not want to be having to use that overtake, and Overkills seems to be a lot more comfortable in this position at the moment. It has quite a bit more than PSR Mac, who has been a bit desperate. But he seems to me that PSR Mac does have the better pace at the moment, but his tyres might take effect of this if he's not very careful. And there he goes down the inside! Oh my goodness me! What a move from PSR Mac. He pulls it late. That was brilliantly done and executed superbly. But now he's lost the DRS, and this is where it's going to come back to haunt him, because all this battling seems to be at a price, and he's going to have to use a lot of overtake, and he's probably going to be down to 10% or less here, and it's not even lap 4. Just started lap 4, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a price you're going to have to pay when you're making moves like this, Fingerboy. Even looking on overkills at the moment, overkills on a back way and a backward streak at the moment. Yeah, not looking good for. Just looking up the front as well, Cypher. He's looking fairly comfortable in the lead. However, Silas is looking good. Big as well. That DRS doing big favours for him, just allowing him to keep the tyres nice and cool. I would imagine, maybe not, but most importantly, keep that ERS pretty high. So yeah, an interesting lead, battle for the leader, maybe just tactics for the lead at the front at the moment.
Yeah, certainly so. I think it will be a tactical game from these drivers more than anything, wanting to look after their tyres, don't want to overheat. As we saw in qualifying, that is where the drivers struggled through this middle sector in particular, as they all start to use all the curb, and that is not something you want to do. Boots will be a little bit frustrated though in P3. Being the third man in the train around here is an absolute nightmare. You're going to have to apply the pressure, and you're going to have to force the drivers into mistakes, as we saw from Clenzo around here with Chandler Saita, who tried to make a move, force him into mistake, touch the curb, and that was Sam up into a net P4 or 5 at the time there. And here we go, FRA Silas doing the move down the inside. That's going to be easy to switch of positions. Nothing PSR Boots can capitalise on just there. And this, in my opinion, Callum, is what we're going to see all night here.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I'm going to have to agree with you for that one. Maybe until the end of the race where it gets a little bit more hairy, but yeah, I think for the time being it's going to be a case of just playing tactics. There's no point in these guys fighting, especially how easy it is to drain that ERS round here. So yeah, it's smart from these guys at the front. No point in fighting, just keep it nice and tidy, and yeah, a little simple switch over of positions at the front.
Certainly so. The Dutchman of Silas does seem to have the upper hand in the race to Cypher, although it has only been one lap in clean air. It seems to me that he has got some nice race pace around here, and you'd expect it from a Dutchman. He'd certainly love this track, and he would want to be competitive at it. As the Orange Army on the right hand side there, cheering him on quite nicely there. That'll be a beautiful sight for him indeed. 6/10 is the gap, pushing quite nicely at the moment. Cypher and him on the exact same ERS, so both drivers using it to their advantage, and they'll be wanting to save it and not be using it too much. Cypher down into 65% at the moment, but it's just a stalemate at the moment. Calm as you like, nobody really pushing too hard. But one driver who is struggling for ERS is Shazzy Jonah, down below 10%, and I wonder why that is. Did he make a mistake potentially, or is he just cautious of the gap of about being 7 to 8 temps here?
Yeah, maybe just not got the pace as well. He's having to use that ERS in places he wouldn't want to, just to keep up with the guys and keep that DRS, because it's so important to keep it round to you. You look at PSR Mac, he made that move in overkills, and to put it simply, he is paying the price. 1.6 seconds is the gap to the man in P12, and he's the only guy in the top 13 or top 14 to not have DRS. So yeah, as much as fighting's good round here, that's the repercussions of it, not having DRS, which is yeah a huge disadvantage around here.
Certainly. So Mima Milk rightly pointing out this is some Dark Killer management. Certainly so. Dark Killer does manage his ERS quite poorly, especially in Challengers series anyway, that is for sure. But at the moment Jonah will be looking to save some battery if he can, rather than be using it as much as he is. Sam Cole on the borderline of losing DRS to PSR Fern, so he's got to be a bit careful with that situation at the moment. He's going to have to use some of that battery. And it seems to me that the front runners start to pick up the pace, and the midfield pack is starting to struggle a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see how this one's going to play out. Not really many moves. Lutz though, it looks like he may be going for a move on the Shizu team. Might have a moment though, coming out of turn 1, so nothing happened. And the end of that one, but unfortunately just caught the end of that one. As Noctix made a little bit of a mistake, or maybe not coming through turn 3. But yeah, other than that, pretty routine and pretty much single file.
Certainly so. And it's just a nice game of chess at the moment, and I'm wondering who is going to make that killer move. It seems to me that Lurch definitely has the upper hand of Noctix at the moment, the Frenchman. But at the moment, it's just calm, cool and collected from the midfield runners. And we've got to keep in mind though, Shazzy Finn's done a stellar job keeping within the DRS range of FRT Venom. Sam Cole, first man to lose the DRS though on the soft runners. He might have to go for an early pit stop to get the undercut and close back in. Predicted pit stop area will be around lap 12 to 11, 13. Will be the latest I predict these drivers do to pit, because that is when the softs do die off. That is short, and that is when they'll be able to do the soft-medium strategy. Some drivers might go for the soft-hard, so we'll have to keep that in mind. And here comes Shazzy Finn. He is applying the pressure now. Going to go down the inside. Surely he is. Goes for it late. That's a nice move from Shazzy Finn. The medium tyres are certainly looking the better one at the moment here, Callum.
Yeah, this looks like it could be the crossover point now, Van down at P10 on those soft tyres. So yeah, definitely starting to struggle. So interesting to see, will Smokey be able to follow through as well from Shazoo Finn? Because he won't want to lose touch with him as well, because underneath he's the tank kind of guy that he'll be racing for this whole race. So yeah, interesting stuff here from Smokey's point of view, because he really needs to get a move on overtaking these guys on these WOR softs now.
Yeah, another driver who's lost DRS. It is Shazoo Jonah, down to 1 second, but he seems to have pulled it all back through that middle sector. Back up to the 1 second, so it is very, very close for Jonah through this middle sector. I think he just about did enough there, but he's got to use that overtake once again, and he's got not a lot to play around with anymore. Down to below 10%, but he's absolutely chucked the car through that middle sector and it hasn't paid off for him, so he's going to have to use it again. Question is, will he be able to hang on? I think he just about did enough, and he has quite nicely. Jonah is hanging on for dear life to this DRS at the moment, and he might have to let PSR Fern go just for his own race here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Siphon makes a bit of a mistake in turn 1. There's Finn getting by Sam Cole as well into turn 1. So those mediums really starting to play a part there. Smokey not managing to follow through. Sam Cole, can I get him the switch back? I think I'll be a little bit optimistic coming through turn 2 and into turn 3. Will he make a move? No, he's very close to the back. And there's a bit of bite up ahead as well. Shazoo Jonah and Shazoo Lush inside each other. You don't normally see that one. The Mercedes is flying through the inside of him. And can PSR Fern get anything from this as well? Coming at the back from there, we kind of lost our words. I'm not really too sure what's happening. Not often do you see this Fern going down the inside, surely not into there. You don't really see Jonah. He's really struggling at the moment. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. Bit of contact from Fern in the back virtually pushed him through this middle sector as they come through turn 8 and 9. They go and it turn 10. Fern all over the back from Shazoo Jonah is really struggling at the moment. Can he do anything to get by? Can PSR Fern do anything? It looks like he can't. So yeah, strange stuff there. And Jonah and still hanging on to P6 at the moment.
Well, I think we saw another spin from Shazoo Lurch. He spun at Spa, he spun at Sochi, and he spins in the Netherlands once again. It's a recurring theme for Lurch, and I really hope it can just go his way a little bit better. But now we've got the first of the pit stops, and this is really, really earlier than the Tier 1 drivers. All go for the hard tyres. Oh, is that a safety car? It's a virtual safety car. So some of these drivers are going to massively benefit from this, and that is quite interesting. All on the hards. Cypher gone for mediums this early, though. This is very, very questionable tactics from some of these drivers here.
Yep, it definitely could pay off though. This is going to maybe add a little bit something, a little bit of spice into this race, because it certainly needs it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if these guys can hang on.
M Racer, no front wing at all. This Dutch Grand Prix has not gone his way, that is for sure. Maybe the setup just wasn't it for M Racer, and I think he might have to just retire the car because it has not gone his way here tonight, and he'll be having to look up to make up for it here next week. No, not next week. We're not here next week, but the week after at a certain Grand Prix, which I'm not too sure, as I haven't looked at the calendar for that one. I usually look at that at the end of the race, but we'll still wait for this virtual safety car to come to an end at the moment. Silas has got a healthy lead to Shazoo Lurch at the moment, obviously, as the drivers behind him did pit, and they'll be kicking themselves here, Lurch in particular, with that mistake. And I wonder if we'll see Silas come into the pits. Could this be a full course safety car? It's really bizarre that it hasn't. Oh. And Silas has just done the most rookie of mistakes I have ever seen. He's got a 5-second penalty, and Jonah's got a drive-through penalty while he was in the pit lane. This is unbelievable scenes, unprecedented from Tier 2 drivers. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm sounding like Gary Neville in the back there making noises there, but yeah, some interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, Silas got the penalty. I mean, he was nowhere near making it. I mean, he was so far off making whatever the cut was for the limit. It was unbelievable. So yeah, it was an interesting one there. And yeah, some silly mistakes from the boys at the back. But yeah, I'm sure they'll learn one day, as I'm just looking at the battle for what is now the current lead. So Shazoo Finn on the medium tyres, he'll be making the most of it. Sam Cole probably struggling now, which will be on those old soft tyres. So yeah, he'll probably be coming into the pit lane soon. However, you'll be thinking he's possibly maybe lost out not pitting under that VSC. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Overkill as well, getting by PSR Mark. So a little bit of revenge there from early on in the race.
Yeah, did you not see, I swear, Lurch pitted, right? Didn't he?
I don't
Lurch
know.
went into the pit lane. Had to. Because he was behind Silas, but he hasn't got any new tyres on. What the... Right, that must be a glitch in the game or something. I'm really confused about that. Lurch will have to pit this lap if he's on 10 lap old softs, and I think maybe Jonah served his drive-through during this period. I'm not too sure. This is really bizarre. And PSR Boots
Yeah.
getting past Jonah there, and yeah, this is really bizarre. Maybe both drivers had a drive-through penalty here, Callum.
Yeah, yeah, to be honest, I'm not too sure what's happening either. But yeah, Jonah's interested to see. I don't think Jonah's served his penalty just yet. I just don't think it's. Oh, well, maybe he has because he's not on fresh tyres. So yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening at the moment. It's a little bit of a bizarre one. I don't think he's going to have a great race anyway with that penalty. Just looking, no, I'm going to change the subject back up to the front. Something we do know what's happening. What is happening? The Shizou Finn is in the lead just about those smoky 92% ERS, looking pretty healthy, and he'll be looking to put that Ferrari possibly under pressure soon.
Certainly so. We've got some people as well debating how both of them don't have fresh tyres on, so they must have had to serve that drive-through penalty that lap. Both of them must have got it for doing the exact same thing, which is quite harsh from the game, that is for sure. Wextro in a nice position though, in P3 at the moment. Obviously that won't be the final part of it, as he still has to make a pit stop at the moment. I'm expecting to see a safety car from one of these drivers, that is for sure. And Silas making a move on his Aston Martin teammate of Tuddy. I don't think the Tuddy fans in the chat will be quite too happy with that, as the last to first challenge is seeming to be slipping away, and Silas has got to get his foot down here because he's going to have to pull a 5-second gap if he wants to win this race here from Cypher.
Yeah, it's a massive rookie error there from Silla, especially around here. Every second matters. It's not very easy to break DRS either. And yeah, this could possibly end up losing them 7-8 positions come the end of the race, depending on how it goes. So yeah, it's just unfortunate stuff there from Silas. And yeah, let's hope for his sake that something maybe happens and it doesn't maybe affect him as much as it looks like it will at the moment.
Certainly so. Bit of other news, another league has just had a bit of drama in that one, with the esports drivers, that is for sure. So that's quite an interesting one. Anybody who's watching the football, Chelsea are leading as well, so good job from them. But as we stick to the action, it is all stalemate. Again, it's a game of chess and checkers from some of these guys. FRT Venom, he's still out on the soft tyres, trying to make the overcut work, which is quite interesting because his softs will certainly be screaming for some help. And Silas now goes darting down the inside of Cypher, now up into the net lead, onto the 76% battery, and Silas is going to have to really try and close in on these medium runners off Fingerboy, who is 3.7 seconds up the road.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at the front at the moment. Smokey still on the back of Finn. He's doing pretty nicely. Finn 25% ERS, which is not probably going to do his race any good, especially when he comes into the pit lane for the soft tyres at the end to kind of go for that last lap push. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm surprised he's not going to just let Smokey get through and just help himself and save some ERS. Overcomes as well on the back of Venom, as Venom's struggling a lot on those soft tyres now. He's done incredibly well to take them this far, considering a lot of people put 3-4 laps going on the medium tyre. So Venom, he's sticking it out at the moment, but he's definitely paying the price.
Well, yeah, certainly so. And we've also got to mention Boots is not really having the greatest of races. It seems to me that M Racer might be getting away with one, but the gap should be closing. 27 points is the gap from M Racer to PSR Boots, and Noctix is in a quite nice position to close in on his rival at the moment in P3. So it's all still to play for. Few drivers pitting. Venom finally makes that pit stop. Jonah still on those soft tyres, yet to make a pit stop at the moment. He was just waiting for a miracle by the looks of things. The gap is slowly closing though. Silas is down to 3.4 now from 3.7, so he is slowly making inroads. And Cypher at the moment just look quite happy to stick behind at the moment. No changes at the front off the medium runners. Finn still sticking a healthy lead down to the 30% ERS, whereas Smokey near enough on 100%. So we know who seems to have the bit of the upper hand in terms of raw pace around here, and it is upper hand to Smokey at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to stick on board with these guys, see if anything happens going into turn one, because surely, from Finn's point of view, it'd be really important now just to let Smokey get through and help himself to save some ERS. Kind of what I was saying last lap, let's just stick on board with Mercedes. He's getting that DRS, he's within 3 tenths already, so surely this could be the change for the lead. Finn doesn't defend it as kind of expecting, and Smokey goes pretty smoothly through up into P1 and one board with Wexro, seeing if he can capitalise on it, but it looks like he can't, so a pretty straightforward swap there for the lead.
Certainly so, and I feel if Wexro's been fed some information, I think he might go on the attack. It's a bit wide there from Wexro, but he'll get the slingshot exit, and nothing overkills can do. And Fern making the move on Jonah. Nicely done from the Mexican up into P12. But it's just a bit of a gap, isn't there, between everybody who has already pitted. 1.7 seconds is the gap from Tuddy to Cypher, 1.4 from Noctix to Tuddy, and then 4.5 from Fern to Boot. So bit of carnage in these pit stop areas, and it's kind of proved fatal for the likes of Fern here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see though come into this race how it all pans out. I'm just looking on board with Wexro at the moment. You kind of mentioned that he might be going on the track, and it looks like he will be. He's been using a little bit of the ERS in that middle sector to make sure he can stay to the back of Shizou Finn. So this possibly could be the battle we've been waiting for all race day. And if a little bit of a mistake coming through that final corner hasn't done his hopes any good though, but Finn, he's getting that slipstream off the car in front, and yeah, that DRS is a little bit too powerful, and Wexro wasn't close enough, so we're going to have to wait maybe an extra lap or two for that battle.
So down into 20% is Finn. I'm sure Wexro will have to be applying the pressure now. Nearly up to 100% overtake. He's got the ERS to play around with here, and he will have to capitalise on this pace advantage at the moment. Jonah again, still on those soft tyres, holding on for dear life at the moment. Lurch, fastest lap of the race after his unfortunate spin in the race. Is now down into P16, 9 seconds behind. I'm not sure how that's happened there. Callum, has he spun again, or has he gone for a new pit stop? Because he was right back. Oh yeah, he's done his pit stop, that was it, because he hadn't pitted. So that explains a lot why he's so far back. So it wasn't a glitch, it was generally that he had a drive-through penalty and he had to serve it there, which is really unfortunate for both Jonah and Lurch, because usually the VSC Delta does go away when you're heading into the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. And surely Wexro is going to apply the pressure now. He's turned on the DRS and they're all going to pit. No, they're not. It's a little dummy. And here comes PSR Wexro. He's using an overtake. He's going to go down the inside. We've finally seen a move after a few laps. He's going to go dancing around the inside. Finn dancing around the outside. This is brilliant action. This is where Choco and Ryan crash. But they made it beautifully worked. That's how you do it. And PSR Wexro moves up into P2. Very nicely done there from PSR Wexro, up into P2 now.
Yep, during that as well as PSR counterpart, PSR Boots makes his way up into P9 as well, bypassing 2-8 for that P9 spot. So we had nicely done there from the other Alpha Tauri.
Certainly so, and it is back to the stalemate. Silas definitely has the upper hand on Cypher at the moment though. Gap up to 8 tenths between the two. So Silas really stretching his legs. Now into DRS range. Maybe he had to use a bit of that overtake. Now down into 30%. And Cypher is also on around the same there. So it is very, very close between all these drivers on track at the moment. All in a stalemate though. And it'll be questionable. Can Silas get through this traffic faster than what Cypher can do?
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to see. None of the medium guys come into pelting a few dummies last up his Wexro all over the back of Smokey, but looking like he probably isn't too bothered about getting that track position at this point. And Simon's PSR Mac had a big moment oversteer there coming out of turn 1. But yeah, as we've kind of been mentioning this full race, it is a bit of stalemate at the moment.
So indeed, and at the moment, nothing, absolutely nothing, like you said, and we're just trying to make some small talk at the moment. Championship, though, will be having a little bit of a change around. M-Racer will certainly be dropping down the order after this. This race, unfortunately for him, he's looking for a safety car. All these drivers dummying at the moment are a little bit silly because none of them will be pitting for a good few more laps at the moment. I expect them to pit around lap 26, 27 area, maybe 25 at earliest, really, because you don't really want to have your tyres die at the very end, and you want to be pushing as hard as you can, but the undercut is very, very strong. Have you spotted anything, Callum?
Yeah, Silas and Fingerboy going side by side, coming in the middle sector. It was really unusual to see that move. But into turn 11, Silas round the outside. He's making the most of those medium tyres. He's got that 5-second penalty and he's really on a mission at the moment. None of these guys on no mediums are pits. He's going to have to make more of these moves, and this is crucial times for Silas. You mentioned that 5-second penalty, and we're looking Cypher as well. He's trying to follow through, going round the outside. Silas, a big mistake there as well up ahead. Cypher can't do much about it, but I think that might be all the action. So back on that point, Salas, this is important stuff for him if he wants to try and make any sort of gap. He's super close to Mac there. If he wants to make any sort of gap, this is a time where he has to. So he has to try and get through these guys on no mediums and try and break that DRS to Cypher. But at the moment, Cypher is doing incredibly well to hang on to that Aston Martin.
So when Silas makes a move, Cypher makes a move. It is that crucial for the Cypher to do that in particular, and surely Silas is going to have to go for a little bit of a cheeky dive bomb. Will he go for it into this flying left-hander? No, he will not. He'll be a bit more patient. He might go for the same move as he did on Fingerboy. He's got a bit better traction, but nothing he can do as Pierce on Mac using a bit of overtake on the exit there. Both on the same, so nothing he can do. Mac braking very, very late there through the chicane section. Nicely done though from both drivers. Nothing Silas can do at the moment. It is all just really a stalemate once again, and go on the exit. Will Silas make a lunge? He will have to make a very late dive, potentially one like Shadow did on WR Wilson into the turn 1, but he's a bit too far back at the moment. Mac has the better straight line speed again. Silas going in very, very deep, and that did cost him a lot of time on the lap before there.
Yeah, I mean, the longer these guys sit behind it, can I just allow his boots to kind of maybe sneak back in, so 4 seconds behind. He possibly could just sneak back into it, especially from Silas's point of view. He's on for a pretty decent P2 at the moment, but that might just be taken away by the fact that Boots is coming back into this one as PSR Mac all the back of, coming all the back of Overkill through turn 7 there. But still not too much to report on, and as we've been mentioning for a lot of this race, it is pretty much a stalemate.
Certainly so, and we've got to blame Luke Upperling for this decision to put this on the calendar. Not really a fun one for overtaking, and we do apologise to the viewers at home for the limited coverage of this Dutch Grand Prix. Hopefully with the new gen cars though for next year, this track could be a bit more exciting for overtaking, as the cars should be able to follow a little bit closer, and I believe Dirty Air, as it isn't even that strong on this game, will probably be non-existent on the next one, so we should see even closer racing as Mac goes in very, very early for a soft set of tyres. That's strangely early, and he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We've seen that once, we've seen it again, and there's another silly, silly penalty from these drivers, and that is why you have to work on your pit lane entry speed sometimes here, Callum.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone's going to be racing the later this week, be taking notes. Remember that pit lane entry. I'm just on the board with Silas at the moment. He overkills. He's just let him through. I mean, that is pretty disappointing there. I thought we were going to maybe get a battle, but overkills. He's not having any of it. He lets him through, and Silas up into P4 now. Cypher, he's got a lot of work to do now if he wants to keep up with that flying Aston Martin of Silas.
Certainly so. Flight, mate, you haven't missed anything. Really, this race has been quite stalemate-y, and oh, that is a spin. Is that M Racer again? It is. It has not gone his way here tonight, and that is a bit of wing damage. Could this potentially be a safety car, as there is a bit of damage on the racetrack? We'll have to wait and see. Not for now. Anyways, back to the main runners at the front though, and it is M Racer again speeding in the pit lane, and that will be a retirement for the German, and it is. Didn't really get comfortable in qualifying, nor did he get comfortable in the race. And again, these guys all pitting ridiculously early, trying to go for that undercut, and I think Wexford has made the correct decision. Although there'll be a brutal undercut, he'll have the way quicker tyres at the end, which will come back to him, and he'll certainly be a very, very big threat come to the end of this race.
Yep, Rev Caterpillar spinning in the middle sector as well. Not been a good night for the old Tier 3 drivers. Both of them find themselves at the back of the grid, so yeah, a night to forget for them. But now PSR Extra is the only guy on the old mediums left out at the front. So this is important times now for Silas, so he may be able to close up, but do it. Cypher has done an incredible job sticking with Silas, and I think unfortunately now the best Silas can hope for is a P3. However, it'll be interesting to see these guys on the softs. The highest place soft on there is Smoking P8 at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how quickly they can make progress. So.
Yeah, the undercut from Finn, Mac and Smokey all proving really, really crucial, as Mac is 1.1 in front of his teammate there, so it's quite a big undercut from Mack to pull off, but remember their tyres will be the ones to fade off quite brutally near the end of this Grand Prix, so keep that in mind. Will PSR Wexford pit? He does. The latest off the pit stops, but he will certainly have the better tyres come to the end of this race, as the softs do die around lap 12 area, so he'll certainly be peaking for the longest out of these drivers. And there we go, coming out the pit lane now. See where Smokey is compared to him, and that is not a bad effort there from PSR Wexford. He will come out just behind Shazoo Finn, so not a bad effort there from PSR Wexford, making sure not to cross that white line. Doesn't want to get a 5-second penalty from the stewards, as they did mention a very weird rule from Luke Humperdinck, but what do you expect from the man himself? But at the moment it is all a stalemate. Cypher has lost, crucially, DRS here to FRA Silas. This is absolutely crucial for the race here, Callum, and Silas has done what he's needed to do.
Yeah, it's going to make that a little bit more interesting. Piles the pressure on a little bit from a little bit more for Scyther. Sorry, can't get my words out tonight. But yeah, Scyther, I think he'll get back in pretty easily, and if he can, it's not really a big deal. 5 seconds is all he has to stick within range of, because that 5-second penalty is just a big killer for Silas and anything he tries to do this race. So yeah, it is big. If he didn't have a 5 seconds out, I think Scyther's just got enough in him to keep within that range.
Yeah, so it would be a good story for him to say that he's won his home Grand Prix, but it seems to me that that rookie error has really cost him here today. And Shazoo Finn now set the fastest lap of the race, so that he is starting to turn up the heat a little bit, and he has crucially got within DRS contention. But surely Wexford is going to just do what he did a few laps before and just easily breeze past, as the ERS advantage that he has over Shazoo Finn is quite phenomenal, with over 70% advantage between the two. So I feel like Wexford could be on a very big charge, and he will have to close up 4.4 seconds to PSR third if he can get past Smokey here.
Yep, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on with that. Just looking at Wexford on the moment, back of Finn, seeing if he can do anything. He's looking quite low on those kind of slightly fresher soft combat tires. He's all over the back of Finn now, coming out top 10. That says it would be very unlikely to see him move into turn 11. However, you never know with Wexford, but he's stick behind. He's playing it safe for the time being, but we'll just stick on board with AlphaTauri to see if he can make any progress. Finn with the DRS in front, though, unfortunately for Wexford's sake, so that's not going to make it any easier for Wexford. However, he's got the DRS and he's got the slipstream, and he's close enough, a little bit of touch the grass here, because he's all over the back of the Ferrari. Will the Ferrari make much of a defence? And they won't. Wexford, he simply just glides by, and that's as easy as P9 Wexford will ever get for a long time. So up on P9, the AlphaTauri goes.
Certainly so. Remember, the drivers in front all have penalties, so keep that in mind. 5 seconds for PSR Mack. Mack should surely not put up a fight against his teammate and owner of the team. It would be very silly for him to put up such an uneasy fight for Mack. Indeed, Wexford should easily breeze past anyway, as he's got the most ERS in this midfield pack than anybody around him, so keep that in mind. It should be an easy move for PSR Wexford once he gets past his colleague. Back to the front runners. Cypher just managing to hold on to the DRS every lap. Got about double again Silas's ERS, so keep that in mind. Boots has now got past Noctix, as the hards certainly should become the better tyre come to the end of this race. But remember, Noctix did pit a lot earlier than PSR Boots, so keep that in mind. They might all play out even at the end. Wexford getting a good X off that corner, not as close as he was to Shazoo Finn, so he'll save the overtake and then he'll start to plan an attack once again. But at the moment, Smokey not doing too bad of a job. 4.2 seconds is the gap. They're not making inroads on these medium runners out front at the moment here, Callum.
No, they definitely won't. I didn't really think the alternate strat was going to be that good, and I think I've kind of been proved right tonight. I think the best these soft guys can offer us a P7, and that is the position Smokey's in. Obviously, maybe depends what happens with Fern's penalty. But yeah, I think 7th is a better win for on track. But I'll be interested to see how that one plays out. The battle for the podium looks interesting as well. Noctix and Boots, the tyre life is the same age. Noctix are on those hard compounded tyres, but I think it may be in contrast to what people would think. I might just help Noctix come the end of the race. I think those mediums are really going to be struggling, especially coming to lap 33, 34. So that battle for the podium isn't over just yet, and I'm interested to see how that McLaren managed to handle things.
Yeah, I just saw on M Racer's Twitter get rid of Zandvoort. So that sums up his mood at the moment. He is not a happy man with that track. That is for sure. Venom as well. So people saying he's awful. Down in P14 with a 5-second penalty. I think he has disconnected, and I think he's probably given up, and he's just decided to chill with us in the Twitch chat. So not unfortunate. That's unfortunate for you. Unfortunate for Venom. But at the moment, back to the midfield runners, and it's all starting to kick off. PSR Wexford, PSR Mac now, going to go around the outside, he'll get the inside line, but surely the outside will be the better corner, as you'll get the better traction. But PSR Mac gets in the power beautifully, and gets past Smokey, and now, surely, we should see a turn in pace, as, there we go, PSR Mac now takes the lead off these soft runners.
Yep, interested to see what Wexford's response to that one is, but let's see if Smokey's got a response to that one as well. Looked like he's maybe going to make a move there into turn 9, but he thought better of it. Mac, a big moment on the exit as well there. It's Wexford's all over the back of this Mercedes. An interesting little fight is starting to evolve for this P7 spot, sorry. She's really finished well on the back of the soft composite tyres. He want to get it's a safety car that's out. That's big.
That is big. It is a Haas, and it is FOT Venom. Oh, did he do that on purpose as he wanted to quit? And now, crucially here, Callum, Silas now gets to serve his 5-second penalty. That is absolutely huge for his race. He's going to lose out, but I believe he might just come out in a nice position. Where will these soft runners? All the soft runners are pitting again. Interesting. Mac decides to pit, but he had a 5-second penalty as well. So he's decided to get rid of that. Where does Cypher come out? He comes out. Oh, that could be reported. That could be reported. I'm sorry to snitch. Snitches don't get stitches in my ends. But Cypher did cross the white line there, and that could prove fatal if someone decides to report him, because that is a slam dunk penalty in the WR rulebook, as Luke Humperdinck did mention. So, anybody who's in this Tier 2 stream or will be watching that back, there's some evidence if you want to help out a friend or colleague in this Tier 2 chat. But yeah, that is quite interesting. Fern decided to stick out on old mediums here, Callum. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially with penalty as well. I think we've seen it last week if you guys stayed out. It just won't work. I'll put my house on it right now. Fern probably will. Well, you probably won't get points. I'll say now, Fern won't score points this race unless something insane happens. So yeah, it's a silly call from Fern. I think if he came out of the pits for softs, he could have got some good points out of it. But there you have it. Wexford, interestingly, he stayed out in P3 on those old softs, so he will reap the benefits of that. Same with Smokey as well, who will probably be your net race leader after a while. So it's going to be interesting. This safety car has done wonders for his boots as well down in P7, and your fresh leader Scheifer in P3 with a fresh soft. So it'll be interesting to see how big a difference those extra 5 laps will make. So yeah, a lot of different permutations here at the end. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, certainly so, and it's a good point to make. Dark Killer 99, he did this strategy himself here last week, although he had a lot less laps to play around with. Having fresher softs around here is certainly the advantage, rather than being on old soft tyres. So keep an eye on Silas. He will definitely have the better pace. And same with Cypher. Cypher is in a prime position here to win this race, and Silas is going to have to get past 2 drivers on old soft tyres. Wexro should be able to hold on a lot longer than Smokey, who's on 6 lap old soft tyres. So keep that in mind. Ooh, little boy with voice crack. But yeah, the soft runners who are on fresh softs should have the better tyre pace and advantage over the likes of Wexro and Finn. So it'll be quite an inspirational performance if Wexro and Finn are able to somehow hold on to their P4 and P5 respectively.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one says. I know I keep saying that, but this is the 3rd race in a row we've had a late safety car, or a semi-late safety car. I wasn't there at Imola, but it didn't happen. It definitely didn't happen at Spa. But the last 3 races now, now I think back, Austria, Russia, and now here at Zandvoort, we've all had late safety cars. So this is not something that is new to these drivers. They know what it's like. They know that the chaos that comes from it. I mean, we've seen it last week at Austria. If anyone's seen the last lap mayhem that ensured, whatever the word is, it's not really working for me tonight. But whatever is going to happen at the end, it's going to be absolute chaos. Drivers get a little bit desperate, just want that move a little bit more than they would have at the start of the race. And yeah, safety car looks to be staying out for this lap, so the mayhem will be postponed for another lap.
Certainly so. Chile rightfully sums it up. It will be a good finish. We saw how violent it got in Tier 1 last night. A lot of drivers did like to send a dive bomb. We saw it into Turn 1 with Shadow, nearly ending Clenzo's race into Turn 1, spinning him halfway round, but Shadow got away with it. I wonder how the stewards will penalise him for the touch pass move, which isn't really allowed, but we'll move on from that. I'm expecting a dive bomb though, or few here, Callum, especially from the likes of Silas, who's still got a potential win on his hands. And could we see a Perez masterclass defence from the likes of Fern out in front?
Yeah, you definitely could see it. I feel this end of the race has Jesus Sunday written all over it. Unfortunately, he's not here, but we could maybe see a little BTEC Jesus Sunday among this field. And I think, yeah, Scythe is a good one to point out on those fresh stuff. So maybe he doesn't need to make those risks because when you think about smoke, I don't think Fern will be an issue. I think people will get by him pretty quickly. Those old mediums really are no match. So it's going to be a case of will Scythe will be able to get by Smokey, and I think he probably will. So I think Scythe is probably the safest bet to win this race, but it's interesting to see people like Wexford behind them. Will he be able to capitalise on many mistakes? Will people like Silas on these fresh soft Silas boots and not takes on the fresh softs, can they make an impact, or will just people in front of them be too much of a barricade? So yeah, I'll be interested in the last few laps.
Certainly so. Remember, the safety car finally in this lap. Let's see how it all goes down. Make your predictions in the chat room below. Unfortunately, Callum, your top 3 prediction has gone violently wrong. With M Racer going to be on the podium, but you never know. Workshow could still be on there, and my prediction might still be all in safe hands. We'll have to wait and see. Could Dark Killer win the lottery here tonight? We'll have to wait and see. Put your predictions who could still win this race in the chat below. As we wait for PSR Third to get us racing, when will he go? That is the question. And as he waits for his tyres to warm up, I could see him going very, very late, quite like at Imola. And a few drivers thinking he's gone, but he's not. But now, PSR Fern is away, and Cypher is right on the tail of Smokey. Smokey goes semi-defensive. Cypher goes for a late dive down the inside. Smokey leaving in space. Cypher touches the inside curve. That's going to settle the car. Silas goes down the inside, though, and that's him up into P5, taking full advantage of those fresh sauce. Phoenix going to have to defend for his life in the background. PSR Bane's going around the outside of Shazoo Noctix. Beautifully done there indeed. Up into P7, and that is it. Bit of carnage in the background. Is that a car round? A sort of Shazoo Jonah was nearly sideways. PSR Man going down the inside of Sam Cole. And that is a nice move indeed from the Ferrari man. And it was all kicking off. And Silas is making moves. And he's going to go for another one down the inside of PSR Wextro. Leaving absolute minimal room. But beautifully executed. Great racing room. And a beautiful dive. And now he's right behind his the net race leader in a way.
Yeah, how this race has just exploded into life now. One safety car, and there you have it. It's flipped on his head fair. He's done a decent job, you know, out on front. He's not under too much pressure, and he's handled it pretty well anyway. But yeah, not too much moves looking at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see. No DRS as well, so it's all going to be based on that raw pace, and considering the kind of way this track is laid out, I don't think we'll see many moves for the time being. Overkills and Peter, will he make a move? Yes, he will. A dive on it at turn 1. There you have it. Up into P11, possibly the two of them going side by side. Is that his Lutch? I think who's retired. Two of them still going side by side. Great racing for the two of them, and this is only for P11. Overkills in that behind it around the outside. He's got the better line. Will he have more grip? And will he have the better exit? He just about will have, but they're still going side by side. And then you have it in the end. Overkills makes a move.
Certainly so indeed. Great move indeed from Mr. Overkills. And now Cypher is still not able to get past, and I feel like once this DRS is enabled, it's going to kick up a gear. And here comes Cypher down the inside of Smokey. It's a late lunge. Will Cypher get the move done? He forces Smokey onto the curb, and Silas is going to take full advantage of that. He's going to go around the outside. He comes back across. Brilliant move indeed from Silas. It's now up into P3. Great move, and that is taking your chances when they're presented to you.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now talking about that, this is a prime time for Silas now to overtake. I don't think Fern's going to put up much of a fight on his teammate, so let's see what happens now. No DRS, it's just going to be pure raw speed, and Fern doesn't look to be putting up much of a fight, but will Silas try and make a move as well? Here coming into turn 1, looks like he's playing it safe, but a bit of contact between the two might just open the door for Silas. He's got that soft tyre and he's got the better grip, but Alfa Romeo was putting up a great fight, and he's just about managing to hang on in there. But Silas down the inside of turn 3, will he have the grip as well? He gets it on the exit. You just don't think so. Those mediums just about hang on in there. And Fern doing an absolutely fantastic job for his teammate there to hang on into P2.
This is literally a Perez masterclass at the moment from PSR Fern, defending for all his might for his Alfa Romeo teammate. The two PSR drivers working together, and this is where he will try to hold him up a little bit. And Silas is going to go for it again. He's made one move down here. He's going to make it again. Nicely done from Everett Silas, and he's still within DRS. That is called making a move and making it effectively. Great job indeed from the Dutchman, who can still win this race here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, he definitely can. DRS now enabled, as we've seen there, so that's going to help Silas massively close in with only 3 laps to go. Now only be 2 laps when they come across the line. The chase is definitely on now, and Silas is making the most of that DRS. He's not getting much DRS, but either the Cypher though, so it's going to be a crucial last 2 laps for the lead of this race. Boots as well on the back of the Ferrari. Shizu Finn going around the outside into Tillman. Can he make this one work? He's got a bit more grip than the Ferrari, and Finn on those old softs looks like he could be struggling. There's a Rev Caterpillar spot in the first sector, but who cares about that one though? Is Boots going around the outside into turn 2, gets inside for turn 3, and that is up into P6. A very nice move there from PSR Boots.
That is why he's your championship leader, folks. What a move indeed from PSR Boots. Surely Wexro will let his teammate go and get crucial points and extend his championship lead on his rivals. And that is Rev Capella still spinning around in the background. Silas is now ramping up the pressure. He'll have one last opportunity here, Callum, to take away the win from Cypher. Do you think he's going to do it?
It's going to be interesting to see the DRS. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on Cypher. He's going to put up all his defence, all his might, but Silas, he's going to throw absolutely everything at it as well.
Certainly so, and now round to the final corner we go, onto the banking. This is where all the ERS is going to be deployed from these drivers. They've got to make sure not to use too much on that banking, because the tyres will start to scream and shout for help. And there we go, that's a lot of weaving there from Cypher. But remember, Cypher could get penalised from the stewards for an illegal pit lane exit. We've got to keep that in mind. Remember, he crossed the right line on that pit lane exit on the right hand side there, so he could still get penalised for that later on. Yellow flags again through the middle sector. It seems to me there's been a big accident. Jonah's gone round, and it is Sam Cole who's been caught up in it. It's not over yet for Cypher, because remember, we still got one little straight, and remember, we could see a little late dive bomb into the middle sector through the left-hander, where Silas has made so many moves through these last 2 laps. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. He's getting very, very close. Cypher's got a good exit. Silas will not be close enough to go for that dive bomb just yet, and it could still be decided. He'll have to make a late lunge into this corner now, but it seems to me that Cypher has done enough on track. But could it be decided in the steward's room? We saw it last week, and we could see it here again. We'll have to wait and see though if anybody does report him for that pit lane extension. But through the final corner now, Cypher has dominated this race. He got pole position. He wins the Dutch Grand Prix in dominant fashion with F-Ray Silas in P2. And it is Smokey who gets P3 with PSR Wexer in a brilliant 4th, with Boots in 5th and Noctix in 6th. And that is PSR Fern all the way down into P8 there. Unfortunately, none of our predictions came right here, Callum. But a brilliant end to this Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah, do what? That safety car gave us a little bit of life and a little bit of something to shout at the end. So yeah, the safety car gave us something to shout about, as I mentioned, because it wasn't really much happening in this race. But yeah, but Cypher, he's done very well. It's a good point so for him as well. I think I was talking about him earlier on. He's only had 1 point finish, now it's a second. So now he's a first place to add on to that one as well. And that's going to skyrocket him up the standings as well. So yeah, a very nice night for the Alfa Romeo driver.
Certainly so, and yeah, Cypher will be happy with that one. That is for sure. Calling to people in the chat, it is 2 white lines. Two tyres are allowed to cross the white line. If that is true, then it will be an easy win for Mr. Cypher. It's a brilliant performance, and certainly one he deserves, that is for sure. But it was an interesting one. Prediction nearly came my way. Nearly got the first prediction right this season. You're still 1-0 up in that at the moment, so hopefully I can pull it back, but hopefully we can get these drivers in for a quick interview. Thank you to everybody who stuck by us in the stream, peaked at around 40 viewers for a Dutch Grand Prix which was basically as boring as anything. Thank you for sticking along, because it certainly was a stalemate one. It was definitely a game of chess with how slow people were making their moves. But they did get round to it in the end. We'll get some Cypher into the party as well as Silas and Smokey, with I believe that was his best result of the season, the Shazoo Academy driver. And will certainly be making a name for himself in that Shazoo team. Again, beating some main team roster drivers of Noctix, and Finn and Piccolo and everybody else below him of Lurch and Jonah. But again, another DNF unfortunately for Lurch here tonight, which is a real shame because he was having such a brilliant race. Got that beautiful P6 in qualifying, but unfortunately the race did not go his way. As we wait for hopefully some other people to join the party, if they have a mic, we'll have to wait and see. Invite them one more time. If not, we'll get underway and just interview the one and only driver of Silas. But yeah, we might as well get on with it. I don't think they're going to join, unfortunately, Callum. So I'll do one question, you can do another, and I'll end on the final question if you want, just so you get it all over.
Works.
So Silas, P2 in qualifying, it was quite a nice lap indeed, and you did a 10.3 on the mediums. The confidence seemed to be there heading into this race.
Well, Ryan, I've learned from the best, haven't I? Yeah, honestly, league racing is quite good at the moment for me personally. With a bit more time off from my job and a new Fanatec my way, it's been going quite good. Been quite consistent, and then yeah, it was a good lap. Unfortunately, I was a 10th up going through turn 3, and then the throttle went on a bit too early, and then I spun. So it could have been better, but I have to appreciate with P2 and quality that was very good. I didn't want to start on the outside because I just knew I was going to get dive bombed, because this is Xbox Tier 2. So yeah, but race, that was fantastic. Unfortunately, I got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I thought it was 80, but it was for some reason 60. So yeah, luckily there was a safety car. Normally I don't want a safety car, but yeah, this one, that was all right.
So like, did one?
Yep, I'll ask one now. So Silas, this is now your 3rd point score in a row. Not been a great start to the season for you, not scoring the first 2. In the 6th place to the 8th place, and now you're up here on the podium in the 2nd place. You mentioned that the game's going quite well for you at the moment. Where do you think you can end this season? The kind of form starting to turn your way. Do you think you can maybe find yourself in the top 3 in this season if this form continues?
Well, my goal has always been the top 3 for the last, I don't know, 5 seasons, but with a shit wheel and with a lot of work to do, I haven't been able to put in the practice like I've been able to now. So it's been super, and I want to finish in top 3 again this year, but with 2 unlucky no point finishes for the first 2 races. I know it's going to be tough, but I just need to keep up the good momentum now, and let's see where we end up.
Yeah, certainly so. Now we head to, I believe, let me get the calendar up quickly. It is Canada. Ooh, how's your pace around Canada? Do you feel a bit confident around there?
I mean, I think I've done a low 8, so pace is definitely there already. I had a league race there some weeks ago, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Just not looking forward to all the penalties I'm gonna get, so we need to practice that. But otherwise, it's a nice track. It's unfortunately very keen for having safety cars, so I don't know about that. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. So yeah.
Certainly so. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I believe we found the race winner on track, Mr. Cypher. Cypher, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Have you got your audio included?
Yep.
Great. Well, pole position and the race win. It doesn't come much better than that, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Well, that's a nice sort of sweet answer. Callum, do you have anything to ask? If you're here.
You caught me right off guard there. Yep. Well, Cypher, I'll make this one quick as well. You've only scored points once this season, and it was a 2nd place. This is now your 2nd time scoring points, and it's the 1st place. The pace is obviously there. and the consistency maybe is lacking. Do you think if you get that consistency going, you can maybe find yourself possibly challenging for the title, or maybe at least in the top three?
Definitely the top three. I just need to keep carrying the race like I did today. Just not get involved in any incidents like what happened in Austria. So I think if I can just keep it safe in the race, because I can definitely get up there in qualifying. So if I'm just keeping it safe in the race, I think I can be top three in the championship.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, head into Canada next week. How are you feeling around there? The country not too far away from you.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm pretty excited for it because it's a track I'm pretty good at. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great, great, great. And that would boost your hopes in the championship after missing the first round as well. Moves you quite nicely up in the championship indeed. So that is it from me and Callum. We'll see you in a few weeks' time for the Canadian Grand
Can I have a
Prix.
question? I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
How many times are you allowed to weave?
Well, I had this question as well with Choco. I thought it was 2 times or 3 times. I think it's 3 is the limit. So,
Well, now it's 7.
oh, it's gonna get political in the stewards room by the sounds of things.
Ah,
So we'll leave
no,
it
he
to there.
can have the win.
Oh, alright. We'll see you then in a couple of weeks'
Yeah.
time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching.